What's up? It's Kirk from the Run Experience, and I'm going to be showing you 3 of my favorite exercises for keeping your knees happy and healthy as a runner. It's mostly going to be some quad tissue work, so let's dig into it. So the first exercise that we're going to do, we need something to sit on that's going to ideally elevate our leg fully off the ground. So for me, I would want this to be a little higher. So now I can fully swing my leg and it's not impeded, but I've also got a kettlebell here as well. And the kettlebell is going to be what we're using for massaging. So I love the kettlebell for this because it has so many different kind of areas in terms of how much surface area there is. So obviously if you just have it upright like this, it's not a ton of pressure, but there's corners on the bottom that you can use to target little kind of hot spots as well. And then if you want to go for the full kit and caboodle, you could turn it upside down and get a ton of pressure that way. But the exercise that we're going to be doing that you basically just saw is that I'm going to be kind of using the kettlebell to mash down some of the tissues, and that's going to create kind of a pressure on all the layers of tissue. And then my job, once I find little hot spots, is that I'm going to flex and extend the knee. And what that's doing, if you could imagine, I've pushed these 2 layers down, and by forcing the layers to interact with each other by moving my leg, I'm forcing those layers of tissue to kind of reanimate and be more supple. And the kettlebell adds a little more pressure that's going to increase the amount of blood flow and kind of tissue breakup and stuff that we talk about when we're talking about tissue mobilization. So you've got a ton of real estate on the front side of your leg here, so you can do this all the way up kind of in the front side of your hip. You could work yourself down. For a lot of us, kind of the closer we get to the kneecap, the more tender the tissues are going to be. Runners are always trying to smash their VMOs, and so you could try to get inside the kind of inner part above the knee as well. And all you're doing here is just flexing and extending the knee. You're going to spend 2 to 3 minutes on each leg. And it's a really simple one to start with to start to get in some tissue work.
Hey guys, Coach Holly here. We've got some free training for you if you stick around to the end. Happy watching.
Next move is going to be something that we affectionately call the death stretch at my gym, but it's also called the couch stretch a little more formally. We love it because it's super effective, and it's also really accessible. All you need is a corner, so this could be a wall. And if you want, and we suggest, is some pad as well. We love this stretch because it does a ton of demand in both the hip and the knee and the quads. So it's kind of a catch-all. And if I have someone that's dealing with knee pain, this is one of the things that I start to immediately look at. It's also a pretty good diagnostic if you're super tight and have a very tough time with this. Good sign your quads and hip flexors are super tight. So just to start out, I'm going to work us through kind of a progression of this. All of the progressions being, where we're going to start is going to be kind of the most kind of easy form of it, and then we'll start working ourselves into more and more intense kind of advanced versions of it. So just to start, we're going to try to get our knee into the corner as much as we can. Okay, so in this position, I might already start to feel some tension kind of in the front part of the hip or the quad. And what I'm thinking about, and the reason we like this so much, is that I've got a ton of knee flexion here, okay? And what that's telling me is that, or what that's doing, is it's getting a ton of tension built up in the quads already. And I'm also gonna have an extra kind of focus on pushing my hip forward as well, which is gonna get a hip extension demand through the quad as well. And so we're getting kind of a 2-for-1 there. So again, what I'm looking to do, instead of having my butt back towards my heel like that with a flexed hip, I'm going to push my hip forward, and that's where I want to start to operate from. Once I can do that, I can bring this other foot up to increase the demand in the hip, and that will likewise start to increase the demand in the quad and the hip flexor. Okay, again, I'm thinking about pushing my hip forward versus having my butt kind of back towards my heel like that. So I've got that, and then to increase the demand from there, what I would do is I'm going to start to push my entire body back up towards my heel. And so this is kind of the full on couch death stretch that we love so much. And so when I'm here, the main thing I'm thinking about is I want to make sure that my pelvis is square, so I'm not kind of cocked and turned out to the side. I'm also still pushing and squeezing my butt so that my low back is organized as well. Because it's really easy to think you're doing this, but you're actually just arching your back. So if you watch, I can kind of push my butt back a little bit here and then just arch my low back really hard. And now I'm not really doing something very productive. So only go as far as you can with keeping your hip fully forward. And the easiest way to know if you're doing that is if you can squeeze your butt, you're in a good position. So again, just like the quad smash, what we're gonna be doing there is we're gonna spend 2 to 3 minutes on each leg with the couch stretch. This next exercise, we're actually gonna be working on our calves. Believe it or not, the calf crosses the knee, and so we actually, if we have super tight calves, we kind of leave ourselves vulnerable for developing some tightness in the knees as well. So what we're gonna be focusing on is kind of the higher portion of the calf, so most of the tissues kind of right, not directly behind the knee, but we're gonna work kind of right below the back part of the knee. So what we need in terms of equipment, I have a barbell here. You could easily use a broomstick or anything else for this as well that's nice and firm and isn't gonna break on you. So to set this up, what we're thinking about is I'm gonna take my bar and I'm gonna have it behind me, okay? And now I'm just gonna push it back onto the top part of my calf. And again, I'm not gonna put this all the way up into the corner of my knee. I need to be careful with that. I'm gonna stay right on the calf. And what we're thinking about here is I'm gonna use my hands to apply as much pressure as I want. I can get a lot of pressure this way. It's a really easy stretch to kind of do when you're watching TV or something. But when we're talking about the calf, let's say this is the bar and this is the calf. I'm gonna be kind of using my hands to saw across the muscle. So I'm using the side to side motion to move and separate a lot of the tissues in that superior aspect of the calf. And I can get a lot of, this feels amazing, a lot of good stuff in here. And don't feel like you need to go further down. That's just gonna kind of turn into a calf exercise, but just stay in the superior aspect of it. And just like the other exercises, what we're gonna be doing is gonna do 2 to 3 minutes, spending time here, just sawing back and forth. And again, feel free to explore kind of anywhere up in here, but again, don't go all the way up into the back part of your knee. One last thing, guys, if you liked this video, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button below. If you had any questions or comments about the exercises you saw, be sure to let us know in the comments. And we drop a lot of new content onto our YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe because then you'll get a notification every time we drop some new cool stuff for you. And for making it this far, we'd absolutely love to give you a free gift that's gonna give you a little more structured plan to follow for you to kind of work on your mobility, your strength training, your run technique, all that good stuff. So if you click the link here, this kind of picture-in-picture, it'll take you to a place to drop your email and we will send that free gift out to you as soon as we can. And if you happen to be on a mobile device, you can find that same link location in the description and you can enter your email in that way. Again, thank you guys for watching this video on quad and knee health, and we will catch you in the next one.